Today's story is The Tale of Mandarin Duck, a modern fable. This is a story of rare birds, both feathered and human. Once upon a time, not very long ago, there was a great city built in an island that was famous for its people. There were many kinds of people living there: artists and writers, salespeople and stockbrokers, people who work with their hands, butchers, bakers, and perfume makers, people who drove cabs, trucks, and trains, people who fixed streets and cleaned streets. So many different kinds of people doing so many different things. But no matter what they did, these people were world famous for their liveliness. They talked to each other everywhere, in elevators, on subways, in restaurants. They would gather in little groups of street corners and tell each other jokes or discuss the daily news of their city and laugh uproariously. They yelled, sang, and generally had a good time. They looked each other in the eye and pretty much like what they saw. Then invention came into their lives. It was a new version of an old invention. It was a telephone, but you didn't have it put in a corner or go somewhere special to use it. You could carry it on your pocket and purse and backpack, and with this telephone, any question you could think of could be answered. Any song could be heard. Any person on earth could be found. And most important, it was a camera, and you could photograph anything and everything, especially yourself. Everybody really liked that. It wasn't long before everyone in the city had one. I bet you know some people who had a phone like this. You might even have one yourself. In a very short time, people were not the same. All of them were bent over the small screen in their hand. It was as if nothing else existed. Then, one day, something happened that changed many people in the city, maybe forever. A new bird came to town. No one had ever seen a bird like this. Many birds are very beautiful, but this bird was extraordinary. He was a Mandarin duck. When bird lovers heard he was in a pond, they ran to see him. Word spread about the duck, and soon people began flocking to look at him. Wouldn't you? It was the most exciting thing to happen to the city in a long time. How did this duck get there? Where did he come from? Who was this duck? The crowds were in a mist. Everyone had their phones up, taking pictures of the Mandarin duck. Then one day, a kid in the crowd said very loudly, "I am going to see this with my own two eyes." Then she put her phone away and just watched the Mandarin duck be what he was, something so rare that he hadn't been seen with your own two eyes and remember with your heart. So, the grown-ups put their phones down too and just watched. They watched long and hard when in fact this bird had on people. They just love him. As the crowds left the park, they talked about what they had seen with their friends and with strangers too. Little groups of people began to gather to discuss how wonderful it was to see such a rare and beautiful sight with their own two eyes. Soon after that, the people put their phones away. The old habits returned. They talked, they laughed, and sometimes they even sang. They liked each other in the eye and pretty much liked what they saw. And all because of the Mandarin duck. Then one day, the Mandarin duck flew away. Everyone missed him, but he had worked his magic. He had reminded the people in the city, the artists and writers, the butchers, bakers, and perfume makers, and everyone else, to look at the world with their own two eyes. And they did. They would see that around them and rare, beautiful birds, with and without feathers. The end.